Hey, we're gonna watch one of the TheVolgun videos. It's called the SCP Explained, a modern introduction to SCP Foundation. Because I don't really understand how SCP came to be, so I want to start there.
You stumbled upon or heard about a thing called SCP, and you're wondering what it's all about. This guide has all the information you need to know about what the SCP Foundation is and what it has to offer you.
I see.
Think of it as the ultimate primer to the universe, and the wiki as it is and should be seen today.
Got it. Get out your notepads.
This guide is split up into 3 sections, and they are as follows. Number 1, the basics. An introduction to the SCP Foundation and wiki, covering the SCP format, object classes, in-universe lore about the Foundation, and important vocabulary, and why it all matters.
Gotcha.
Number 2,
vocabulary.
in-universe elements. This covers some background information and a lot of commonly used terms that might leave a new reader lost or confused.
That's me. I'm the lost and confused.
Number 3,
He's talking
things
about
to read
me.
and do. A tour of the entire SCP universe, covering all modes of writing and different kinds of pieces that you can read. From -Js to EXs, 001 proposals to groups of interest, tales, and canons. There's a lot more than just the SCP series.
Well, let's not go that far. I don't know if I'm gonna be up to reading.
Okay, let's get started. The basics. Operating clandestine and worldwide, the Foundation operates beyond jurisdiction, empowered and entrusted by every major national government with the task of containing anomalous objects, entities, and phenomena. These anomalies pose a significant threat to global security by threatening either physical or psychological harm.
So this foundation of SCP is like worldwide then? Is that the lore?
Introduction. The SCP Foundation is a collaborative writing platform centering around a fictional foundation, a scientific and military organization that seeks to protect humanity and the status quo by locating and containing anomalies, objects, life forms, events, locations, concepts, creations, and phenomena that, in one way or another, violate natural law.
I see.
On the SCP Wiki, authors tell stories and explore ideas within this urban fantasy science fiction universe, creating rich pieces of writing that take place in a world where the anomalous exists and how people and organizations interact with them. These articles may showcase the different types of phenomena that might exist in this universe, the SCPs themselves, or tell compelling narratives about life and interactions within the SCP world, tales, canons, and groups of interest formats.
So is this like a digital collection, or is there supposedly like an actual prison underground with like all of these cursed beings just hanging out?
Focus of the SCP Wiki is the SCP file, commonly referred to as just an SCP. It is a set of in-universe technical documentation supposedly compiled by the Foundation in an effort to understand, analyze, experiment with, and most importantly, contain the anomaly. The SCP file is, in effect, a form of constrained writing, an immersive way to tell a story about the nature and history of an anomalous object or entity, whether directly or by hinting at some greater idea.
Okay. So there's a really big, classified documents space, and that's how we know about each of them.
Each SCP is given a unique serial number or designation. And on the wiki, you can browse SCPs with designations ranging from 1 to 3,999. They are organized into 4 numerical series.
Oh, Jesus.
Series 1, SCP-1 through to 999. Series 1 was written from 2007 to 2011. Series 2, SCP-1000 through to SCP-1999. Series 2 was written from 2011 to 2013.
So these are like seasons of animes, right? There's like Season 1, Season 2, Season 3. It's like the One Piece. There's so many.
SCP-2000 through to SCP-2999. Series 3 was written from 2013 to 2017. And Series 4, SCP-3000 through to SCP-3999. This series is still being written, but it started in 2017.
I see.
The SCP format. An SCP file has a very specific format that, in general, must be strictly adhered to.
Okay. So it's kind of like... it's kind of like submitting a college essay paper. Like, it's got to be written a certain way.
SCPs are the backbone of the entire franchise. These documents are the set pieces of the universe, showcasing its tone, stories, and possibilities. The basic format of an SCP is as follows. Item number, SCP-, then the number. Object class, then a category name. Special containment procedures.
Yeah, does it need to be like Times New Roman double-spaced? At least 300 words?
Then a detailed summary of all specific means needed to make sure the anomaly is safely contained. Description. Then
if the words escape, does the anomaly escape?
Technically written documentation of all things that the anomaly is, does, and can do. And
for
finally,
some of them,
supplements.
nice.
Optional additional files added onto the base document. Each SCP is given an object class based on the degree of containment difficulty. Here are the primary object classes.
Oh, okay, so there's like a tier list of like how problematic they are. Yeah?
Safe. The anomaly can be contained by simply leaving it alone. No special procedures, methods, or events are necessary to keep it from damaging the world. This does not necessarily mean it's not dangerous. A safe class object can be world-threatening if not contained, but it's just really easy to contain them.
That would be kind of funny if, like, one of the safe anomalies, because somebody, like, enabled it or something and kept talking to it forever, like, actually became worse than all of the other ones. It'd be like a level 1 character in an MMO, like, beating up on a level, like, 100.
Some notable examples of safe class SCPs are SCP-1981, SCP-2579, SCP-993, SCP-1425, and SCP-3039. All examples will be in the video description.
I see.
Next, Euclid. The anomaly is inherently unpredictable or requires some amount of special effort to be contained. You're not quite sure what will happen if you leave it alone, and it might be a little bit more complex than a safe class entity, object, or phenomenon. Some notable examples of Euclid class SCPs are SCP-3008, SCP-426, SCP-1171.
That's a toaster!
Here's the problem. Too many toasters.
Oh man. I'm gonna have to throw that away.
SCP-3001.
It's unpredictable what that
and
toaster can do.
SCP-1609.
Not the IKEA.
And finally, Keter. These SCPs are really difficult to contain, requiring a huge expenditure of resources or extensively complex containment procedures. The most dangerous of phenomena are classed as Keter, often, but not always, posing an existential threat to humanity, the world, or universal structure itself.
Oh, okay. So they're bad, but like sometimes they like really don't feel like world domination or like being too problematic, you know? Like maybe they're like the meme, like they're just standing there menacingly. It's like I could, you know, take over the world and subjects all of its inhabitants to internal torture for the rest, like a million years, but I don't really feel like it.
Some notable examples of Keter-class SCPs are SCP-1739, SCP-231.
Oh man, see, that's reading. I could tell. Yeah, that's why I never read. I don't want to subject myself to that possibility.
SCP-2935, SCP-2293, and SCP-3200.
Oh, that's a Dell laptop. See, I don't have one of those either. I'm doing really good so far. I think I'm safe. This looks like some type of cave with it. This looks like it involves going outside. So I feel like I'm safe from that one as well. Whew, doing good, guys.
In addition, There are a number of esoteric and secondary classes that are used much less than the big three that I just mentioned, but still serve important purposes.
Oh yeah, like does the level they're at make them more or less aggressive? That's a good point too. So like, are the safe ones pretty passive or like skittish maybe sometimes?
Thaumiel. This is a very rare object class only known to the highest levels of the Foundation. In essence, Thaumiel class objects are anti-Keter. They are used in the containment or counteracting of other SCPs. They act as—
Bro, so you use this one in order to lock up the other ones? Is that what I'm hearing? Like, we gotta ally ourselves with this one, because then we can stop the other ones? They seem like the bodyguard class. Can you befriend some of them? It seems like you're not supposed to give them attention or whatever. Is there any one of them that being friends with them or giving them attention actually has a benefit, or is it like always you're supposed to ignore them?
Powerful tools to be used by the Foundation, which normally rarely uses anomalies. Some notable examples of
I just want to
Thaumiel-class
befriend the
SCPs
murderous
are
entity, okay?
SCP-2000, SCP-2003, SCP-3000, SCP-179, and SCP-3031. And finally, neutralized. It used to be anomalous, now it's not. Maybe it just stopped working on its own. Maybe someone accidentally or purposefully destroyed it. Either way, it no longer has functional anomalous properties.
So, can this one be friend-shaped since it's retired? You know what I mean? He's like an off-duty SCP. Can you befriend them now? Can I take it for a walk?
Some notable examples of neutralized class
It's
SCPs
most likely dead.
are
Well, it doesn't say dead, it just says neutralized. Darn.
SCP-1470, SCP-2682, SCP-3519, SCP-1762, and SCP-2420.
Oh, the brain. Just like me, for real, for real. That's my brain there in 4K, neutralized.
If you want to stop watching this guide now and start diving into the wiki, this is a good time to do so. But be sure to finish this guide if you're unsure of anything. Maybe you can pick one from the links from the description and then follow the cross links.
Oh, neutralized is just
and
a formal way of saying dead? Oh, I didn't actually know that. My bad.
In the article. Maybe you can go to a series page.
Target neutralized.
I highly recommend series 2 and 3, and just click on one with an intriguing title. Or you could roll the dice and press random SCP.
The problem has been dealt with.
One of the best ways to learn about the Foundation is to discover for yourself all the genres, emotions, and ideas it can evoke, to keep that sense of mystery and gritty realism. There's still a lot to learn about the culture and vocabulary and universe of the site. You can find out and learn by yourself just by reading as much as you can. Playing it by ear, it's pretty fun that way.
Can anybody create an SCP then? Or is it like mostly people listen? Like, cause a lot of these are like really documented. So like, what if somebody makes like SCP-004 and then another person makes another SCP-004 and they're not even remotely similar? Like, I feel like the vetting process has to be kind of strict. Like, otherwise people could just create like different ones and just say they're all the same number, right?
Or if you'd like to get a better handle on everything that's going on and a few more ways to drop you into the community, stay tuned. I still have a lot to show you.
Oh, it's like an open wiki? Anyone can make them, but there's moderation. Oh, I gotcha.
Next up, in-universe elements. Foundation structure and protocol. Security clearance represents how much information about an object you're allowed to know. If you've read through an SCP or two, you're bound to have seen these. Data expunged, redacted, or the text completely blacked out. These keywords are common hallmarks and tools of narrative of the SCP Wiki, signifying that the information has been classified to a higher clearance or has been cleansed completely. It adds an element of horror through absence that is classic to the SCP fandom.
I see.
For a great example of how security clearance levels can be used, read SCP.
We could tell you more, but then you would have to die.
2317. There are also many types of workers in the Foundation. Among them, we have containment specialists, researchers, and security tactical response officers. There are field agents who are out in the world undercover, looking for signs of anomalous activity, and mobile task forces, special units that are assigned to carry out certain dangerous jobs. The task forces document contains a list of mobile task forces along with their associated SCPs.
These guys sound cool, man. I want to be one of those.
The Foundation is usually thought of as a far-reaching organization, and so their bases are found across the globe,
on the case.
and sometimes outside of it. These bases can be sites or areas. For more
sounds
information,
cool.
read Secure Facilities Locations. The leaders of individual areas or sites are high-ranking Level 4 researchers known as Site Directors.
I feel like you could wear a monocle
rank higher
at this point.
than Site Director. And they are the O5 Council, the ultimate leaders of the entire Foundation. The Overseer Council, abbreviated to O5, is a group of 13 people who manage all Foundation operations worldwide and have complete access to all information.
This sounds really boring. This sounds like a really glorified secretary, you know what I mean?
Redacted or not, their identities are classified for safety, and they are only referred to by their ID, 051 through 13. In addition, some versions of canon also include the existence of...
It's not, trust me. I feel like I'm gonna anger every person who knows a lot about SCPs being a tourist, not actually knowing what any of this means. They're gonna be like, I can't believe she said that.
An administrator.
Can't believe she called him a glorified secretary.
Finally, one of the most interesting parts of the Foundation are D-Class personnel, or Class Ds. The canon around D-Class personnel...
I want to be Class D's nut. I mean, I want to be Class D. That sounds very sophisticated and knowledgeable and high-ranking.
helps showcase the colder and more morally gray side of the Foundation.
One of these.
In order to experiment with and contain SCPs, the Foundation needs lab rats to test things with. The D-Class. Oftentimes,
oh, then it really does make sense. It's kind of like you are the butt end of the experiment. Dispensable. Catch D's. About to die.
They are recruited from death row or the prison population, serving as expendable personnel that are used to handle hazardous anomalies. In the early days of the site, a common headcanon was that all D-Class were executed at the end of the month. However, this idea has gone...
Why would you just execute your lab rats? Then you'll have to go find new ones. Why would you just execute them?
...out of fashion as the site has evolved.
I was gonna say, this is a bad idea.
About Class D personnel, try reading entries from the D-Class contest. Terms to note. The SCP Wiki has... I
really want to know how they determine who is in the D-Class. Because I feel like nobody would sign up to be, like, a guinea pig for, like, experiments and stuff.
...created a wide set of terminology and new innovations, inventing concepts that are unique to the premise of the site.
That's a good one.
Found nearly nowhere else in literature.
D for definitely not gonna die.
Know these terms before you dive in. Anomalous classifications. Memetic, or meme. A meme.
Oh, wait! Is that why once human, we look up our memetics? That's where this term comes from. Sorry, I had no idea that this term was used in SCP until now. Now it all makes sense. I only saw memetics. That word being used in Once Human, now it makes sense. I didn't realize the entire game was slightly based on SCPs. Okay. I'm guessing that was like completely obvious to everyone else, but I'm learned today.
Is any unit of information that can spread and transfer itself throughout society. Memetic effects deal with how the brain understands and reacts to media.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, I kept wondering why people were saying deviants are SCPs, or they could be. And now that makes sense why people think that. Yeah, I know the term memetic is not specific to SCPs, but now I understand why people, like, think that deviants are kind of like they could be an SCP, or could be like a nod to SCPs. Makes a lot more sense.
Is a piece of data in the subject's mind that has an anomalous effect on that subject's physical or mental state that is spread when someone else becomes aware of the same information. In particular, anomalous memetic agents are bits of hazardous information that are like a mental virus, triggering anomalous reactions in people who are exposed to them. anti-memetic, or anti-meme. An anti-meme is the opposite of a meme. It has self-censoring properties. Anomalous
so it hides itself.
anti-memes are perfectly mentally camouflaged, whether by making you unable to hold your perception of one in your short-term memory, or making you unable to comprehend the concept of its existence.
Bro, every main character in like anime games and anime tropes must be the subject of an anti-meme anomaly. They always forget everything about themselves.
Cognitohazard. A cognitohazard is something that is dangerous when we perceive it with one of the 5 senses. For example, a sound that causes you to bleed from every pore, or a smell that causes you to go insane. All
I don't like that. That doesn't sound like a very good day.
effects are a subset of cognitohazards, as in order to process the information, you have to sense it. Infohazard. Infohazards are anomalous effects that trigger when the SCP is described, referred to—
Forbidden knowledge! Forbidden. The knowledge is forbidden. You've learned too much. You've learned too much. I could tell you more, but then you'd have to die.
or acknowledged. You don't even have to
send you to the
sense
shadow
thing
realm.
to be affected by
If
an
you learn
infohazard.
more,
You
learning
just have
bad.
to know that it exists.
Become
It
dumb.
affects data written
for
about the
safety.
anomaly and people that are made aware of the existence of the effect. Ontokinetic, or reality bender. An ontokinetic being can manipulate the laws of reality, magic, through anomalous means.
That sounds
Groups of
confusing.
interest contain and study reality benders, often in unethical ways, creating some moral crises for the Foundation. Anart, or
So that last one sounds like a really good way to retcon things in the future. To have that type of anomaly so you can rewrite stuff.
an artist. Anart is short for anomalous art. Many people and groups aware of the existence of reality-breaking phenomena choose to explore it by creating often surrealist art with extra-normal properties.
So if I was a SCP and I drew a PP on the wall, you could call it an anartist piece.
These people being called anartists.
I could be an anartist if I did that.
Narrativic
It would
or
count.
pataphysical. A narrativic anomaly manifests itself within works of fiction, often affecting the content of the work involved by creating characters, changing the setting, or blurring the line between fiction
Yeah, the PP itself would be an anart, but then I would be an anartist of the anart I made.
and the reality. The pataphorical or pataphysical SCP explores narrativic anomalies using the wiki itself as the narrative. It
And then if I wrote about the PP that I drew about, I could also be a narrativic, and it could be pataphysical evidence of the PP I drew.
explores the idea of characters we write on the website attempting to
Right.
communicate and manipulate us, and
Right.
being aware of things on the website like author pages, deletions, and discussion forums. Technology and engineering. Scranton Reality Anchor. Scranton Reality Anchors are technological devices used by the Foundation to essentially regulate consensus reality. They cancel out or prevent the effects of reality-bending entities and anchor down areas where the level of unreality is higher or lower than normal, counterbending it so that it matches the reality that we know and inhabit.
So this is the way you could say, and it was all just a dream. Because I was in a Scranton reality anchor projected by an SCP the whole time.
Many contemporary authors have criticized the widespread use of SRAs as a catch-all
Yep.
for containing any type of structural or ontokinetic effect. Telekill. The SRA back in the old days. Except the problem was worse. In its original form,
Oh, it just contains things? Okay, never mind, never mind.
it was a metal that blocked all mind-affecting or compulsive effects. People went crazy over it and started using it in all their containment procedures, and mistakenly thought it also blocked mimetic effects. Scranton's rewrite of the article added some nuances and drawbacks to it, and its usage had fallen by the wayside anyway, as people have become more innovative with writing.
Ah, yeah, this needed a nerf, or the creators of SCPs to come up with the fact that they their abilities still worked around this.
Humes, a unit of measurement that measures the intensity of reality present in an area, crucial to understanding how SRAs and other technologies work. They are useful in quantifying how powerful reality-bending effects are relative to each other.
How many SCPs use reality bending? Because this is like a huge part of this video. Is like all the technologies and all the stuff that's used to try to get rid of the anomalies using the forbidden reality bending jujitsu. I hope some of these are well written, because it seems like it'd be very easy to write something like, and I bent the reality and, you know, like literally did whatever I wanted. You see what I'm saying? I feel like having like the anti-reality thing would make some of these a lot less believable or like grounded in anything that's scary. I don't know.
K-class scenario, a term used to classify possible apocalypse scenarios, which the Foundation deals with on a daily basis when discussing the possible outcomes of dangerous effects or entities. The most common type is XK class, which describes a conventional destruction of the planet scenario. There are multiple minor ones whose exact definitions in canon are being argued over, including CK class, the restructuring of a reality.
So these are like phenomenons that can happen from an entity doing this? Okay.
A class, humanity goes crazy. SK class, the dominant species on Earth is no longer humans. And ZK class, reality universal failure.
So these are the big, like, cataclysmic events that they're trying to prevent or predict could happen? Like, worst-case scenario theory? Something like that?
Amnestic. Mind wipe drugs. A narrative tool used by authors to explain A, how the Foundation is able to keep the masquerade of secrecy, and B, to create stories dealing with memory and knowledge.
Take your
In
joy.
Universe, these are simply chemicals that erase a normal human's memory of some amount of time. When
Remember to take your joy.
the Foundation has to recover an anomaly in the real world or seriously messes up, these are used.
I feel like that's kind of a similar idea.
Things to read and do. There's more to the wiki than the SCP series. In this section, I open the door to the other areas of the site that are part of the Foundation universe, as well as answer some common questions about key but confusing parts of the site. What is SCP-1?
Yeah.
In the early days of the site, when the wiki was just getting started, there was some debate over what should be this sacred number.
Yeah.
1. Everyone agreed that it had to be incredibly written. Everyone agreed that it had to be big, something deserving of the very first spot. But nobody could agree who should do the honor of writing it. The answer? Everyone can write their own vision of SCP-1. Thus, the system of proposals, an author's individual idea of number 1. They vary wildly and contradict each other. On the number 1 hub page, it says that the, quote, real number 1 is so secret that a number of false ones have been created. This explanation allows there to be multiple self-contradictory number 1s. One of them could be the true one to you. Or maybe you want a couple to be canonical at the same time. Maybe all of them are fake. Maybe all of them are true. It all depends on your canon and how much you like a given proposal. In effect, SCP-1 proposals are canon builders. Each one sets the tone for a particular author's vision of the Foundation itself.
Yeah, I suppose that's clever. It's everything and nothing at all. Use your imagination.
SCP-1 proposal is as easy as writing it and then submitting it just like any other SCP. Although, unless you're incredibly experienced, it will most likely get rejected by the community and deleted. As of November 2017, 19 SCP-1 proposals have been successfully posted. Each one is the product of a lot of work and a high concept.
I think this is a good idea because once you're starting this, you want a lot of people to, like, spread word about it, right? So, like, when you're trying to get this to take off, you need a community around it. So if you make it, like, open source, like, literally anyone can come up with this, It like really encourages other people to write stuff.
Here are 6 of the 19.
Because there's no wrong answers, technically.
Number 1. Dr. Clef's proposal. The Foundation was established to prepare humanity for the rapture or apocalypse. SCP-1 is the angel guarding Eden.
Oh, that's an
Number 2,
interesting one.
Dr. Mann's proposal. The first and only natural anomaly was a spiral path in New York. A group of ambitious scientists experimented with reality using this as the thread and created every single other anomaly in the database.
Oh, okay. So this is kind of like, this theory is like, this is what started the chaos. Like, it was the first step to all the other things happening.
Number 3. S. Andrew Swan's proposal. The SCP Foundation is aware of its fictionality. They are currently discussing ways to kill their authors. Number 4.
I don't know if I
Roget's
completely understand that.
Keter-class anomalies are an inherent part of the universe and can be contained using each other. By releasing all Keter-class anomalies, the universe can be manually restructured.
Isn't this kind of like Elden Ring? With its gods?
Number 5. Twisted Gear's Cactus Proposal. SCP-1 is one manifestation of the mechanical god worshipped by a clockwork cult, which wreaked havoc on the world before the military destroyed it. And finally, number 6. Kaladin's Proposal. Humanity was originally a slave race whose suffering was harvested to create utopia on another planet. We escaped and then tried to cloak ourselves. The cloak failed, and our masters are trying to bring us home.
My favorite ones are the first and second ones so far.
It's my personal suggestion that you don't start with SCP-1. The proposals are usually quite complex and require some knowledge of Foundation lore, which is either played with, expanded on, or subverted.
I like how it's like you would normally, that's the first thing I tried to do when I looked at SCPs, was try to look for the first one so I could go from one like all the way through them. Unironically, that's the wrong way to do it, is starting at the beginning.
Conventional SCPs before you take the number 1 deep dive.
Which ones are more conventional? There's so
Special
many.
classifications, -EX, -J, and -ARC. There are other types of documents that use the basic SCP format and style, but utilized in a different way. This allows different stories with more diverse tones and themes to be told. The SCP-EX classification designates an SCP that is no longer considered anomalous. It is explained. The object or phenomenon in question still exists, but the Foundation has deemed it to be an acceptable part of consensus reality.
So maybe these ones are easier? Maybe this is beginner level? My brain won't explode?
Giant fake out, or it turned out to be just a new scientific discovery. An SCP-J is a joke SCP.
Oh,
a
yeah.
parody SCP, in a sense. Joke SCPs are explicitly non-canon, using the SCP format to joke around or make fun of something for the benefit of the reader. They may riff on in-universe tropes like overwrought security, over-the-top containment, cold posting, or bad original characters. Or they may parody things like food poisoning, bad drivers,
yeah, I can make my
easily
PP
angered
SCP
people,
in here.
or that one movie. They may even make fun of the elements in the other popular SCP canons. Ultimately, a joke SCP is just a way to make the reader laugh.
SCP beaming.
If a joke SCP is not well written and very funny, it'll be downvoted.
Oh no!
And finally,
we
have SCP-ARC, archived SCPs. These are usually legacy pages from the very old days of the site, when standards were low and the mass edit had not been conducted yet. While most of these SCPs were deleted, some of them needed to have text archives due to their usage in other tales or still existing SCPs, or because they were historically important. ARCing is no longer in use since the opening of Series 2, 3, and 4, and you will most likely never need to read one of these.
So is it like the Old Testament a little bit of the SCP universe? It's like before the coming of, or it's like BC, but it's like before the coming of standards or people to moderate the site. Do people not like reading these then? Because they, like, don't really have a standard to them? I don't know. The BE before edit. Yes.
Canons, and collaborative logs. Tales are how the Foundation universe gets deepened and extended beyond the limits of the simple SCP file. It allows authors to tell stories where groups or people can interact with each other in the SCP universe, to expand on ideas already created in SCPs, or just, you know, to write a prose.
Are you allowed to ship them, or is that, like, really forbidden? I'm just wondering.
Some authors may also turn their tales into a series, usually if they have a cohesive idea in mind, or if it gets really popular. Notable series include There Is No Anti-Memetics Division, The Cool War, The Lombardi Tales, Tales of Mr. Collector, and Pitch Haven. You can find tales in the top-rated Tales Archive, as submissions to a themed contest, or by trawling around and finding recommendations. You can also, as we'll soon learn, read the tales in a canon. A canon is your own set of assumptions about the tone, setting, and dynamic of the universe. Each of the canons in the Canon Hub is a wildly different set of assumptions, based off the baseline SCP Foundation. Think of them as mega tale hubs, or parallel universes.
Oh god.
Or self-contained cinematic universes for authors to play in. Here are 5 notable canons. Broken Masquerade, a world where the Foundation's existence is known by everyone. Resurrection, a deliberate attempt to resurrect the action-orientated SCP Dr. Crazy Days of Series 1, in which an MTF composed of anomalous humans is formed.
What the?
Third Law, a pulpy sci-fi paratech world dominated by the machinations of Prometheus Labs and Anderson Robotics. Rat's Nest, the military killed God, and the Foundation is covering it up. Reality is slowly unraveling and falling apart.
So these are kind of like the plot you can pick before you write the story about an SCP, kind of? It's kind of like this is the setting.
The Gulf.
They're kind of like settings.
Small-scale, poignant series set in the southern United States, usually having a restful, mysterious feel, and featuring religious symbolism and unconventional types of media. A number of pages on the site are tagged as collaborative. Collaborative logs or pages can be edited and added to by anyone, although some quality oversight still exists. This is a good way to get your creative chops and contribute whilst not taking the plunge of writing an SCP. The 3 main collaborative pages exist as lists of mini SCPs, very small-scale items or phenomena that don't need to have a narrative, but
it's kind of nice because this literally is allowing for so many people to take part in this. It's like, oh, you don't need to write like an entire article. You can just write like a short, like few sentence thing if you want to take part in it. Like, it's really interesting they're doing this because it's like just encouraging more and more people to write here. It's like, here, we'll give you a setting and you can start with that. And there's like a section where you can write like mini stories, you know, and like other people can collaborate with you so you don't have to write the whole thing. Yeah, it's like, it's a very nice, like, creative hub, it seems like.
Need to be unique, appropriate, and interesting.
There's a lot of like teamwork and like world building encouraged by many people.
The SCP Foundation has discovered a substantial number of items which are simply too useless to merit further attention. This document lists those items which have prompted some curiosity. Log of extranormal events. This page is to document anomalous events that have attracted the Foundation's interests, but occurred too briefly for the Foundation to secure or contain them. And finally, Log of Unexplained Locations. This page is to be devoted to the documentation of low-threat anomalous locations which have been discovered by the SCP Foundation over the years. There are a number of other collaborative pages, usually SCP supplements or logs. Keep in mind that guidelines for contributions still apply though.
Yep.
And if your edition is deemed to be below standard, it'll probably be removed.
It's so interesting how they've managed to have such a big collaborative space that still has like guardrails and is able to like hold like a standard and like overall like I don't know how to explain it. It seems like it's well moderated, I guess. So, like, it doesn't just completely, you know, turn to, like, posting. That's pretty interesting how big it is while still being able to, like, hold some rules and merits that are all just determined by people.
Groups of interest. The Foundation isn't the only fish in the anomalous sea. Other organizations, collective, and groups exist that utilize or create paranormal phenomena for their own purposes. Some are associates of the Foundation, others are rivals to it. Many of them quietly pursue their own interests, while a great many of them fall on the lines of good and or evil. The vast majority simply have a goal in mind that's somewhere in between. Here are 7 notable groups of interest. Are We Cool Yet? A collection of artists, usually producing surreal and disturbing works of art. Their pieces are designed to have maximum impact and are usually lethal in some way.
I like it.
The Chaos Insurgency, a rogue cell of the Foundation that uses terrorist means to steal and repurpose powerful anomalies to gain control over nations and conduct unethical experiments using them.
I see.
The Church of the Broken God, a widespread cult believing in a clockwork god who is broken into pieces all over the world. Dr. Wondertainment, an individual or company that makes anomalous artifacts that are supposed to be children's toys.
That's creepy.
The Serpent's Hand, a small organization headquartered in an interdimensional library, believing in anomalous rites and the normalization of the paranormal and magical. Marshall, Carter, and Dark, a corporation that buys and sells anomalous items for the benefit of the super rich. Global Occult Coalition, or the GOC, a massive military organization under control of the UN, using technology and force to destroy the extra-normal wherever they find it. Many groups also have their own form of documentation, similar to an SCP.
Okay.
On the wiki, they are called GOI formats, and they are stories told from a different perspective than the Foundation. For more information, visit the Groups of Interest page, as well as the ongoing Groups of Interest overview and guide on the SCP Declassified subreddit. Beyond the main site, you can find stories and SCPs to read even beyond the classifications and places I've already detailed. In this final section, I present other outlets of writing associated or tied to the SCP Wiki that you can also look into. Firstly, a great place for you to discover lesser-known but very well-written tales and SCPs are in the Contest Archive. For example, SCP-1000, 2000, and 3000 contests all have SCPs themed around urban legends, sci-fi, and horror, respectively.
Interesting.
You have the Short Works contest, and the D-Class contest mentioned earlier, and the History contest for both tales and SCPs. Then there are the gigantic, multi-part Mobile Task Force contest and Groups of Interest contest, and then the Dystopia and Reimagining contests, and
So are these all, like, ones that, like, just didn't get picked to be the main story they went with? Kind of like honorable mentions, or?
forth. There's so much to find. The Wanderer's
cool.
Library is set in the mysterious, ancient, magical Library of the Serpent's Hand. It includes prose pieces and poetry set in the SCP universe, but focused on evoking a sense of wonder, of the extraordinary and fantastical. Quote, a sense that there is a larger world beyond the one we know. In the world of the library, these wonders are hidden, but never truly far away. But never forget that this is a wilder world than our own, and it's never entirely safe, either.
So what is the... I don't completely understand the Wanderer's Library. I'm guessing it's just kind of similar to the other thing where it's more like honorable mentions.
And finally, we have the international foreign SCP branches. There's French SCPs, Russian SCPs, Japanese SCPs,
cool.
and a whole bunch more. Each brand has their own set of SCPs, many of which have extremely creative and diverse ideas.
That's
if
pretty
you're looking
neat.
for more SCPs to read, this might be a place to find cool concepts. And if you don't know a foreign language, the main SCP-INT Wiki Hub has translations of some of them.
Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. Multicultural
This was entirely
SCP.
written by Reddit user Modulum83 over on the SCP Declassified subreddit. All links will be in the description. If you enjoyed it, give Modulum83 some praise in the comments section for writing something I couldn't write myself.
Nice.
I hope it answered most of your questions about who we are and what we do, and that it convinced you to take a dive and become part of the universe and the community.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I, watched this first. Because I think if I would have just gone in, I would have been a lot more confused. Now that I kind of understand, like, what all the different terminology is, it's a little bit more understandable. I think I would have been kind of confused otherwise, and I would have had a ton of questions.
I would like to give a special thank you
This
to
was a really
Andre
good video,
Bichert,
by the way. It was really well made.
Desmond Haskins, and Getsaberry. Thank you all very much for your support.
Nice.
It's greatly appreciated. If you would like a special thank you at the end of each of my videos, and some other cool stuff as well, go to patreon.com/TheVolgun. Thank you.
Yeah, because like a lot of times when I've looked at SCPs, I didn't really know exactly like where to start with them, or, you know, it seemed like there was a lot of history that I had no idea about, so this is very good. You guys will have to let me know if you want to see me look into more SCPs in the future, yeah? Maybe we go down the SCP tunnel.